He doesn't make confusions. He doesn't make contradictions. The same in the Quran. Allah doesn't make mistakes. Allah is perfect. Okay? So when you have mistakes in the Bible and the Quran corrects it, then you know God Almighty is correcting it. This is how you know, because Allah is the only one that doesn't contradict or make mistakes. That's the difference between us and Allah. Allah doesn't make mistakes. We make mistakes.
And I just, small side point.
Yes.
Why does the Quran then say that some verses are abrogated for better verses if Allah doesn't make mistakes?
Okay. As human,
and maybe we should get that verse so people understand.
Yeah, no, I know about it. I know about
not
it.
Everyone might know exactly.
It's in Surah Baqarah.
Yeah, let me get
Surah,
it.
the second chapter. Yeah.
That's one thing that really confuses me as well.
I think it's in Surah 2:106. I think it's in Surah 2:106. Could be wrong. Yeah. 2:106.
2:106.
Yeah.
So if I just read it quick. So you made the claim Allah never makes mistakes.
Yes.
So I'm questioning that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you mind for the cover?
I'll go on this side.
Yeah. Thank you.
So in the Quran, so this is 2:106, yeah?
Yes.
If we ever abrogate a verse or cause it to be forgotten, we replace it with a better or similar one. Do you not know that Allah is most capable of everything? Further to that, there's another verse that says Shaitan puts in misinformation for all prophets.
No.
Is that correct?
No. It says another verse. It says when they're reciting, Satan can make them make mistake, but not put in. Just like when Muslims recite the Quran, Satan does come and make us make mistake, but that doesn't mean that the Quran has been changed. Or just like when Christians read, they make mistakes. They believe that's from the devil, causing them to make mistake. Yeah, I know the verse. You are correct.
I want to get the particular. Shaitan throws into Revelation.
No, it's the Quran.
Today.
I'll get it for you.
2252.
Yes.
So
yeah, but that's not just the prophet. All prophets.
2:106 was talking about there is
abrogation.
There's an aspect of abrogation happening. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
And then 2252. I think it elucidates on that by saying Shaitan throws falsehood. But let's double check what it says.
Yeah, but then God says He quickly corrects it. God said that He quickly corrects it. So it's not like it stays there forever.
Yeah, but let's just see. And it says Surah 22, Ayah 52. And we did not send before you any messenger or prophet except that when he spoke or recited, Satan threw into it some misunderstanding. But Allah abolishes that which Satan throws in, and then Allah makes precise his verses, and Allah is knowing and wise.
Exactly.
So, I've understood what you said, but for me, I'm someone that's not believing in any of this right now, yeah? For me, why would Allah allow this to happen in the first place and allow Satan to throw in and meddle with revelation?
I didn't circle. Okay, so the reason why these things happens, the prophets are human beings just like us, okay? And Satan, he's got certain powers where he can influence people to do things. Satan has that, okay? That's one of his powers, okay? However, as you read in the Quran, Allah abolishes it and corrects it. So even though Satan tries to manipulate the Quran or the previous prophets, I didn't circle. Yeah, go on, circle.
No, I'm good.
How you doing? You good, yeah?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so as you can see, Allah says He abolishes it, which means He corrects it. So Satan, despite attempting, thank you, bro. Despite attempting, he was never successful, because as you can see the verse, Allah says He corrects it and rectifies it.
Okay, so but there's a point at time in which Satan has misled a prophet
by recitation, mistake.
Okay, what's the point A to point B between when that misinformation comes out to when Allah corrects it? Is it instantly, or do some people get a bad message?
No, it can happen instantly. Like for instance, if we're reading the Quran, if we're reading it, Satan can make you make a mistake by reciting something different. However, this is why we have what you call memorization. We memorize the Quran. This is why when the imam is in the front praying, if he makes a mistake, who corrects us? Somebody behind, innit? Because we memorize the Quran. So Satan, even doing his best to mislead us in reciting wrong, there will be a Muslim correcting the person that got the recitation wrong. That's why memorization is so important for us. It's even more important than the writing. The writing, the writing means nothing. Yes, yeah,
But again, for someone that's not a believer, so your explanation makes sense as a believer.
yeah.
For someone that's assessing, is this the absolute revealed word of God? I don't see why the creator that can do all things would allow this enterprise to take place.
It shows his power.
I would no. His power. I would see him as more
Let-
powerful
let
if
me
he
finish, let me
protected revelation from Allah to Prophet and didn't allow Satan to meddle with revelation.
No,
Because
but
this is
you know,
words to his
you know,
creation.
you know, understand the point here. If Satan was successful in like keeping it there forever, then you are correct. However, it's been abolished. God Almighty rectified the prophets and the previous prophets. That's why God says in the Quran, He has revealed the Quran and He will protect it, which itself is a prophecy. So we memorize it. No matter what Satan do, he can never change it. You know,
So the Quran has never been changed.
Never. We have 7 different types of recitation or ahruf. Yeah, all of them come from the Prophet. I can show you the references if you want.
No. So the reason why I asked that question. So, but we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Just make my point clear. It doesn't make sense for me that Allah would allow Satan to do this. Just
Okay.
if you could do it otherwise, if you could say, actually, no, we're not going to allow Satan to meddle with our revelation, but we will allow Satan to meddle with the people after revelation. Why go through the process of giving the prophet the scripture, allowing Satan to meddle with every single prophet, when you could just protect the revelation to the prophet and then let Satan play after? It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe there's a higher purpose.
Yeah, but
to
it's been protected.
No. Forget the protected bit.
Yeah.
I'm saying when Satan does meddle, so Allah has to abrogate verses. Why would that be in effect in the first place?
Okay.
If Allah is all powerful, why go through that extra step?
Okay, that
That
itself.
doesn't make sense to me, to have that extra step. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, God is trying to teach us a lesson. Yeah. In fact, if you read Surah Baqarah, when Satan challenged Allah, he said, "I will lead them into hellfire." Allah said to him, all those ones, you can mislead them except my righteous servants. The righteous servants means the prophets.
On that point, quick. So that it's predestined who will be led and who
No.
will be misled.
No. God is saying, if Satan wants to mislead people, the ones who are righteous, you cannot mislead them. So no, we have a free will. We have a free will.
Okay. And what was the other point we was going to come back to? Has
Say-
it never changed?
Never changed.
So what would you say is the source document?
Okay, we have. I'll show you the Quran first.
Before we go there, just because of my understanding, so maybe I'm incorrect. In terms of the Bible literary traditions, I think it was the case that the Dead Sea Scrolls gave them an extra corpus of writings to get closer to what maybe the original texts were, because we don't have any original texts from, let's say, the supposed time of the kingdom of Israel and Judah. We don't have any actual texts that date back then. I think the Dead Sea Scrolls were about 300, and then the Septuagint and everything was about 300 BCE.
Yeah.
So obviously I have a brief understanding of how the Bible's come through time to now. I don't really have a good understanding of how the Quran has come through time to now. So for example, if I do point to the Dead Sea Scrolls at about 300 BCE, what's the equivalent in Islam? What do we point back to
Okay.
in Islam?
In Islam, what we have, first important thing, the priority is memorization.
I can't verify memorization, but I
Well,
understand it's
I can.
important. Yeah, it's important
He
to your
can.
tradition.
Are you Muslim? He can recite Surah Fatiha. I can recite Surah Fatiha.
I understand that, but for someone that's not in that realm and they're not a Muslim, in terms of a literary trace, that's what I'm asking for. I do understand.
He's saying that's proof within itself.
No. What he's saying for him to prove it, that yes, that is a difficult one because
I don't speak Arabic.
Yes, but that's
and none of us were there
Okay,
to
but-
hear the recitation of the time of the Prophet.
So you're looking for something material.
So what you could say is that if the recitations if we go all over the world and we hear that they accord, that's one thing, but does it accord to what was recited at the time of the Prophet?
yes,
How do we prove that?
by
empirically?
oral tradition throughout generations. Just like I'll give an example. Yeah, I've never met these guys. On Wallahi, I swear today I've met them. All right, we will recite Surah Fatiha, Surah Ikhlas, Surah Nas, yeah, Surah Baqarah, identical.
I would say that's because there was a Cairo standard edition and there was a this standard edition. There were standardized editions of the Quran.
Okay,
So, for
but
example, no, I don't have it today, but
they are-
my one says it's
they are
from
they are
Saudi
still
Arabia.
they are still the same, dating back to the Prophet, dating back to the Prophet. So there's no difference there. Even though like they may, like the writing, like the numbers are slightly changed in terms of this first chapter number
Yeah.
to, yeah, the recitation is identical. It's the same.
But would that date to Uthman or before Uthman?
No,
Because
Uthman,
Uthman burnt Qurans
yes, he burned it because
for the purpose of
the purpose is that when Muslims were new and then the new converts came who are not known Arabs, they started to be having rivalry, like in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is not an Arab country,
Yeah.
okay? So they start making slight changes and mistakes and stuff like that. That's why Uthman decided to burn all the other variants, Ahruf, and kept the one from the Quraysh, okay? Which is the one as used in Saudi Arabia. I think is the Hafs one, the Hafs Quran.
Hafs,
Yeah,
yeah, Hafs.
yeah. So this is why he did that.
Wash. I think wash
Yeah.
is another way to recite it.
Yeah, it's one of the Hafs words is used in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
which dates back to the time of the Prophet, because Uthman is a companion of the Prophet. It's a Sahaba of the Prophet. He met him. Okay, so it's not like somebody came 200 years later and started bringing another Quran. No, he's met him, and the companions, they all came after the death of after so many Sahabas died. They all came together and recited the Quran and brought it back. Because remember, this is the beauty of Islam. If you lose the manuscript of the Quran, if you lose it,
We have the rest.
exactly. Thank you.
Hopefully, you know more about this than me. Sana palimpsest found in a mosque in Yemen.
Yes.
It does not corroborate to the modern day Quran. It has one layer of text and then another layer of text on top, and they differed significantly. How do you explain the Sana palimpsest?
The Sana manuscript.
Because it doesn't match up. It's not unadulterated.
The Sana manuscript is
And basically, they had one. So let's say they had one verse. They had one verse written on a page,
yeah.
and then that was kind of like erased slightly, but we could still see it faintly. Then they rewrote on top of it.
Yeah,
And what
yeah.
they rewrote on top was not what they wrote beforehand on the same page.
Okay, but the Sana manuscript it's been carbon dated back between 578 AD to 699 AD. 578 AD, which is even before the Prophet. But if you look, it says here 669 AD, which is like
Sorry, the Prophet died when?
no, it says between that time. It's,
Yeah,
look,
look. Date is not an exact. Yeah.
I know, look, 660, 6.
Yeah, it's not an exact.
AD,
Yeah.
yeah? So that's like a few decades after the Prophet passed away. That the Prophet passed away in 632 AD.
32, yeah.
So that's like roughly 30, 40 years. Okay?
Yeah.
So 95% accuracy is good. The only 5% accuracy, let me tell you what's the 5% problem, is the writings that are hidden. For instance, the ink marks have been rubbed off.
95%. You said 95.
Accuracy, yeah.
Against what?
5% some problems
95
because,
accurate as.
like for instance, agrees with modern day Quran we have.
But then why do we have Cairo Standard Edition and then Saudi Arabia from 14? I think the Cairo one was 19 something, 1920 or something.
20,
Like that.
yeah, 20 something.
So
Yeah.
what does that mean? What's the Cairo Standard Edition?
The Cairo one, it
Yeah.
is still dating back to the Prophet ﷺ himself. It's still the same. It's just that they modernized it and make it look modern to the way things are written now. But the recitation, the verses, yeah, every single thing is identical. 114 chapters, 6,600 and I think 30 something verses. Yeah, the wording, the recitation, all identical, except when it comes to the 7 recitations, which is the ahruf. Okay, we have the wars, the hafs, we have the duri, and the other ones. But the main ones is the hafs and the wars. That's the one. That's what we use mainly.
That's fine. So that's not what I heard.
Okay, go on,
I
tell
heard
me.
there's some variations between what was it? So Cairo, we have Cairo, and we also have the Saudi one, and then, like I said, source documents at the start. What are the oldest Quranic manuscripts we have? I think there's a Birmingham.
Yes, that's the
there's a
Uthmani
Birmingham-
one.
There's a Birmingham text.
Yes.
Where's the other ones?
The other one is in Sana. The other one is in France as well. France.
There's some names for them.
Yeah, and there's one also in France.
So Dr. Shabir Ali,
Mm.
of course, he's more knowledgeable than me, so I just heard what he said. He was admitting that no, it is not 100% word for word the exact same Quran, but nothing in essence of meaning has been changed. But then, of course, he's now accepting that there is not 100% word for word same Quran going back to the time of the Prophet Muhammad. That's what he's saying now.
No, he didn't say that. I think
sure he did.
I think he misunderstood. I have listened to him speak. He's talking about in terms of 7 different recitations.
No, he wasn't talking
Yes,
about
he is. Like I'll give you an example. Yeah, in Surah Tawbah. Yeah, it says in where it says fight. It says Katilu Kutila. Okay? Both of them are the same. One of them means fight and one of them means kill. But they both work together and they complement each other. Because when Muslims fight, they either kill or they fight.
Okay.
So it's collaborating with both people, the ones who have fought and the ones who have died. So this is what he was talking about. He wasn't talking about they're different from the time of the Prophet. No. He's talking about in terms of recitation. Let me show you a hadith verse for you to understand where I'm coming from. Perhaps you may think I'm lying.
No, I don't think you're lying.
Do you agree?
I think you're saying what you've come to,
But do you agree that we have different?
Shabir,
Yeah.
he was admitting that we do not have a word for word exact same Quran from the time of the Prophet to us now. He was saying that
How
not
are
being
you,
the
bro?
case does
Yeah,
not
alhamdulillah.
change any major tenets of faith in Islam, and that essentially we have all that we need, even though the word for word is not exactly the same to what was recited by the Prophet.
Okay.
But we can go back and check.
Okay.
what he
Let
said.
me show you hadith. Perhaps that will help you.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah, that will help you.
I'm going to get some hadiths as well.
There weren't any other verses.
Well, again, once I'm more up to date on this, apparently there was one man that the Prophet said is the best for Quran, and apparently he had an extra verse that we don't have today. But again, I can't give you the source for that right now, so that's why I'm not really pushing on that.
Was that found? Was that found?
Was
that Quran?
No, apparently the story was a story. Maybe it's in the hadith that he had.
Thank you, Sam.
How many Quran verses are there? There was an extra surah that he had that's not recited today.
No. I know about them. I'll come. This is Sahih Muslim
Yeah, Muslim,
821. Do you want to read all of it? It's quite long, but if you want to see the main
What's
one,
this
it's at the
about?
end. It's about the 7 ahruf, the 7
No,
recitation.
I have no problem with the
You don't have issues with that?
no, not
Okay.
that, not those 7 things. No.
Okay.
I'm talking about the word for word thing.
Word
Not
for
the-
word.
Not the recitation thing.
Okay.
But that's fine because I'm not.
Yeah, but
brushed up on that.
word for word itself in the recitation, the words are slightly different still. You know, like for instance, we say in Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah, like Sirat al-Lazina Amta alayhim. In order, zira. Other one they say sira. So Z and C are not pronounced differently, but they all go back to the Prophet himself.
And also, I just remembered.
But it's the same meaning.
The oldest manuscripts didn't have the diacritical marks for the
No,
letters.
no, it didn't.
So does that not have any effect?
No, it doesn't, because the Quraysh dialect and those dialect that was revealed, they will still know it by just recitation. You will know it how it's spelled. Like for instance, yeah, if I what's your name, sir?
Ashley.
Ashley. So if I mention your name, Ashley, yeah, in some places they may spell it with ASHLEY. Other places it's ASHLEE. Right? Have you seen that
Yeah,
before?
I've seen
Okay, so how would you know this one is your Ashley or the other one?
No, but the difference is that I'm not an Arabic speaker, but I know that even just the stroke, then determining how many dots you put above it changes the letter.
No,
So with that stroke, which looks like the underside of a smiley face,
that's Ra.
how many letters can you make depending on how many dots you put above it? You can put 3 dots, 1 dot, 2 dot. How many different letters?
What was added though? You're talking about the marks above the letter.
No, those were
Below
added
the
as well. Those were added as well. Because it was just the strokes.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
So
He's
let me
talking about
just,
the ahraf, which is the
Oh, okay,
shoes
yeah,
and
yeah,
dots
yeah.
below them
No,
above
no,
them.
we will know, because of the dots and stuff. We will know.
He's saying that there
was no
weren't
dots.
dots at the start.
Yes, but we will still know. Yeah,
you're saying by recitation.
yes, and also from, let's say it's from Quraysh, which is in Saudi Arabia, we would know it. This is why, because the sound is slightly different. The sound is slightly, for instance, yeah, in America they will say what do you call it? The same word, but it's slightly pronounced differently to the UK. Yeah, exactly. Tomato, tomatoes. But how would you know this one is America, this one is UK? The pronunciation, right? Is that right? Yeah. Thank you.
Can we get to something a bit more
Yeah,
contentious?
that's fine. Yeah.
65.
Should we do the which one? Oh yeah, let's
Did you
just
guys
do
came
that.
together?
Yeah, I know him.
Oh,
But we always go back and
I didn't know,
No,
bro.
I'm Muslim.
Ah.
I used to go. Well, he doesn't go there anymore.
No,
I
I
go back
thought
and forth.
I thought you guys are just.
No, I'm Muslim.
No, no,
Ah.
it's not on my.
So you know I don't know them.
But he always says, out of all the religions, he says Islam's the most airtight. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Islam is the most airtight between
Yeah.
Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But in my opinion, it's not airtight in terms of things that I see shouldn't be coming from a creator. You know?
Okay, can you give an example?
Yes, we do that.
But we have hope.
Inshallah,
We have
inshallah.
Hope. We have hope. He knows as well.
Inshallah.
So we're looking at the 65.4 in terms of the Ida waiting period
Okay, yeah.
prescribed for women after divorce.
Yes.
In my Quran,
Mhm.
it says the Ida is 3 months for those who are past menstruation, those who have menstruation.
Mhm.
Pregnant women have to wait till she
Yes,
gives birth.
I know about it.
And
Yeah.
also for the young.
Yes, I know about it.
Um,
No, I didn't say young.
It says those who have not yet menstruated.
Yes, thank you.
Those who have not yet
Yes, thank you. No,
menstruated.
not yet. Yet is
Quran
not.
says yes,
No,
so this is what I'm saying.
Arabic yet is not there.
Okay, so this is, but fair.
I'll show you the Arabic.
I
Shall I show you?
Because I've seen
Okay.
different translations. I believe you.
No, yet it's not there. It's not there.
Sometimes it's not.
No. In the Quran, real Quran, it's
But
not
of course
there.
You can't match English to Arabic.
Even
precisely.
okay. For the sake of argument,
Yeah.
take yet.
Yeah.
You will still get the answers from me, inshallah.
Yeah.
So you.
So my
yeah.
Quran, I'm just telling you my Quran. Next time I'll bring it.
Yeah.
It says in brackets. So whoever edited, whichever scholars edited it, says, i.e. they are too young. So it says those who have not yet menstruated, i.e. they are too young.
Yep.
Then I went to the tafsirs. Ibn Kathir,
Yep.
amongst others,
Yeah.
corroborated that it is talking about prepubescent girls for waiting period. I do not think the creator would allow men to marry prepubescent girls. Science tells us it's very dangerous for them to give birth before their body's actually ready to give birth.
Okay.
Therefore,
Mhm.
this is one of the major blocks for me to seeing Islam as the truth.
Okay.
And I have looked at different translations. Same with the Bible. Sometimes different translations kind of pull away from the issue, which can happen in the Quran as well. But that's fair. But then I did look at the tafsirs, and then I looked at the hadiths as well.
Mhm.
So obviously we are all aware that a big condemnation of Islam is that Aisha was 6 and then 9. But then there's also hadiths that corroborate that you can marry prepubescent.
No. Can I respond?
I'll give you the hadiths after. Yeah.
No. I know the hadith. Don't worry. I know all these things. Alhamdulillah. So, just to make it clear, it didn't say yet in the Arabic, in the Quran, in the real language. But I'll give it to you as an
What
argument.
did it actually say?
Okay. This is what it
Did it
says.
say those who have not menstruated?
No. Yes, who have not menstruated. Yeah. Now, that's a big thing. I agree with you. When God gives such a command to marry girls who haven't reached puberty, I don't believe that's from God. So, just to tell you, you are wrong. That's not talking about prepubescent girls. It's not.
And also Ibn Kathir is wrong.
Let me explain. I did allow you to speak, please. Okay. Now I'm gonna explain it to you, and I will show you a verse in the Quran which says you have to marry girls that have reached puberty. Okay.
I haven't seen that.
I will explain to you first why it says those who have not reached menstruation. Now, are you aware of something called medical condition called primary amenorrhea? Are you aware of it?
No.
Okay, you don't know what anyone knows what primary amenorrhea means? Okay, it basically means women or girls who are fully matured but they do not menstruate. It's a medical condition. Do you know some women are fully mature? They don't bleed. Do you know that?
I've heard it, the only time I've heard of it is when they're very athletic and they mess up their hormones and they stop getting their menstruation, and their body fat's very low, they stop getting their menstruation.
Something like that. Yeah. Back in the day, people used to do a lot because of they don't have transport, they don't have a lot of these things. Yeah. So yes, they do a lot of physical things. Okay. So it's quite common. Even today, even people don't use like let's say horses and donkeys or walk a lot. They still have it. Let me show it to you here for you to know what it means. Yeah. Let me show it to you. Do you want to read this, please? This definition. Of it.
Amenorrhea is the absence of menstrual period in a female organism who has reached reproductive age. Physiological states of amenorrhea are most commonly seen during pregnancy and lactation in humans, where a woman or girl has reached reproductive age and is not on birth control and does
So
not menstruate.
you see this, yeah?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. So that verse is talking about those people, because if you read the tafsir, Ibn Kathir, I'm sorry, he didn't say pre-pubescent. He didn't say that.
What did he say?
Let me show you the tafsir. Let me show you the tafsir for you to see with your own eyes.
I'm trying to find it now as well.
Yes, it's here. It's here. Don't worry. Oh, the internet is bad here, man. Sorry. I'm gonna go to Surah 4. Surah 4, verse 6. Do you agree Ibn Kathir said the young?
Yeah, I'm finding it.
It said
can I
young.
just find it quickly?
Yeah.
What's the verse that you're going to bring up?
So if I read it from here, some women were not mentioned. So this is tafsir now. Yeah? Some women were not mentioned in the Quran: the young, the old, and the pregnant. Allah, the Exalted, the Most Honored, sent down this ayah, which I'm assuming is talking about 65.
Yeah.
Those in menopause among your women, for them the iddah, if you have doubt, is 3 months. And for those who have no courses, and for those who are pregnant, their iddah is until they lay down their burden. Ibn Abi Hatim recorded a similar narration than this one. There are still some women whose iddah has not been mentioned in the Quran. There are the young, the old, whose menstruation is discontinued, and the pregnant. Later on, this ayah was revealed, so another ayah was revealed. Those in menopause among you women, for them the iddah, if you have that, is 3 months, and for those who have no courses.
And the young.
Yeah? So let's get into it.
I don't think it says pre-pubescent.
Well, let's keep going.
Yeah. It does say young, but not pre-pubescent.
Hold it, yeah, let me just find it so we can just see what it says.
I've read it already, long
I know,
time.
but I
Yeah.
want to refresh.
Yeah. Yeah. Gio sang. Gio. Weh, ani fanang. Ifanang yes something sang. I think correct niya kiting. No sang. No, okay.
Aha, here we go. The same. Sorry, I missed that at the start. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation.
Okay.
This is tafsir.
Yeah. Yes, it says years of menstruation. It didn't say puberty.
The years of menstruation is puberty.
But no, menstruation and puberty are different. They're not the same. Remember when I showed you primary amenorrhea? Remember when I showed you that?
Wait. Let me just read this bit and
Yeah.
then we'll clarify that as well. So, it was right at the top, I missed it. Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the women in menopause, and that is the one whose menstruation has stopped due to her old age.
Yeah.
Her iddah is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah 2228. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation.
Yes.
Their iddah is 3 months like those in menopause.
Yes.
So,
Oh no,
it
thank you,
makes-
Wallah. Thank you, brother.
it also makes a comparison. No, I'm okay, thank you.
Thank you, uncle. Thank you.
It's comparing old and young. Those
Yes,
who
yes.
are past menstruation
Yes.
and those who have not reached.
Yes. Let me respond to that. Remember when I showed you primary amenorrhea?
Yeah.
So menstruation means bleeding. Do you
Yeah.
agree? Okay, so it didn't say those who haven't reached puberty. That's why I used primary amenorrhea for you, to let you know there are some girls who are young, yeah, yet they have reached maturity. They do not menstruate. Do you know what's the first sign of puberty? Do you know what's the first sign of puberty?
No, let's look it up.
Breasts. Let me show it to
Yeah,
you.
look it up.
Okay.
But it clearly says they have not reached the years
Yes.
of menstruation.
Yes, that
And
means
that's a bandwidth of time.
I will show you the hadith. Yeah, sorry, the tafsir where it says you have to marry girls who reach puberty. We'll come to that.
You find it?
Yeah. No. Thank you. All right, thank you.
That's fine, but I don't know how that strengthens your point, because years of menstruation doesn't tell us that they have to have started at that time. We know from science that there's a bandwidth of time where in which menstruation should and can start. So I think in the modern world for girls, it is a bit younger. It could be between 8 and 9, and it should kind of have onset by 13, 14.
Yeah, but do you agree there's some women who are 30, they don't menstruate at all?
That's fine, yeah.
So have they reached puberty or not?
They've passed the years of menstruation.
Thank you, but they're not still bleeding.
Yeah, but we're not basing this on the bleeding. We're basing it on the years of menstruation.
No. This is talking about menstruation in terms of years, any time of menstruation. That's what it's talking about. Now, let me show you a hadith, tafsir, which says you have to marry girls at puberty. I'll also show you hadith. Yeah. Let me show you hadith.
That says you can marry them young.
Okay, but young doesn't mean not puberty, my friend. Because somebody can be 16, a girl can be 18, a girl can be 18 and not reach puberty yet.
We'll be able to
sorry, not menstruate.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Let me just find my.
Okay. Do you want to read this? You see, where we have to marry when they reach puberty. This is hadith. At the end, keep reading.
Okay. So you're saying that this says they have to reach the age of puberty?
Yeah, look. Does it say, attain the age of puberty?
But does it say that has to be a factor?
Yes, it says attain.
Not necessarily.
Then he wouldn't have mentioned it.
Let me see. It's essential to have the consent. And
They
it
have
also
to.
says silence is consent.
No. We'll come to that. That's it. We'll come to that. There's a reason for that. No, I'll explain if you want me to explain that. But let me finish this first. Yeah.
Orphan or slave girl, or virgin, and she refuses him. This is talk about a specific instance of falling in love with an orphan.
No. If it says orphan, they're still girls. So
Yeah,
it's generalized.
No, it's not generalized.
It is.
This is a particular instance. So let me read it aloud.
It's general.
No, we'll read it out. So Allah's Messenger said, it is essential to have the consent of a virgin for the marriage. I said, a virgin feels shy. The Prophet said, her silence means her consent.
Yeah, that means shy.
Some people said, if a man falls in love with an orphan, slave girl, or a virgin, and she refuses him, and then he makes a trip by bringing 2 false witnesses to testify that he has married her, and then she attains the age of puberty and agrees to marry him, and the judge accepts the false witness, and the husband knows that the witnesses were false, he may consummate his marriage.
We'll come to those ones, the ones you're confused with. Let's stick to puberty, Let's stick to puberty.
Oh, you're done, yeah?
Going.
That's what's coming up.
Thanks, man. Thank you. My name is Abu Bakr. Yeah. So.
Nice to meet you, bro.
So as you can see here, you have to reach puberty.
I'm not convinced.
Okay, let me.
It sounds like a particular circumstance where a man basically takes a girl against her will and claims that he has 2 false witnesses.
Yes, but anyway, that's a different topic. We'll come to that.
Forgive give me
Now
one
this
minute.
is important. This is important now. Yeah. This is. I'll show you the tafsir too.
What's
But
this,
read
Quran?
it. This is Surah 4 verse 6.
Test the competence of the orphans until they reach a marriageable age. Test the competence. The marriageable age doesn't say puberty.
Yeah, but
we'll go on.
yeah,
We'll go on.
I'll show you that. Yeah.
Then, if you feel they are capable of sound judgment, return their wealth to them and do not consume it wastefully and hastily before they grow up to demand it. If the guardian is well off, they should not take compensation, but if the guardian is poor, let them take a reasonable provision. When you give orphans back their property, call in witnesses, and sufficient is Allah as a vigilant reckoner.
So this is about returning orphans their belongings. Yeah.
Test the competence of orphans until they reach a marriageable age.
And what do you think? What do you think marriageable age means?
It's not told there.
Okay, let's go to the tafsir. This is where you're going to see you have to marry girls when they reach puberty.
Yeah. Which tafsir?
Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir.
Let me try and find my hadiths as well. Which hadiths do you accept?
The one that's Sahih.
Sahih. So
Yeah, look. This is the top. Look, I don't want you to think I'm lying.
no.
Yeah.
You seem sincere. I don't
See, Surah
think there's a
4
line.
verse 6. You see, 4:6. The tafsir. Let me click the tafsir for you. Let me click it. Read this one here until here.
Whose tafsir is this?
Ibn Kathir.
It says according to Mujahid.
Yeah, I know, but Ibn Kathir is the one that brought it together. It's him.
The age of puberty, according to the majority of scholars, comes when the child
No. Look,
has a wet dream.
hang on. Look, puberty. Look,
Yeah, and I read on.
age of puberty.
And I read on. The age of puberty, according to the majority of scholars, comes when the child, not
Yeah.
woman,
Yeah,
has a wet dream.
yeah. Okay. Now.
Children.
Yes. Hang on. Okay. Now,
So
when
as
he
soon as a
wait. I've seen this tafsir already. When it says child, yeah, it's not talking about in terms of children. I'll give you an example.
Now, this is where I say
Wait.
you're getting slippery.
No,
Just
wait.
for the record.
Let me explain.
Yes,
Please.
okay.
Let me explain. Yeah. Now, somebody who is, let's say, 60 years old, yeah, can they call their 18-year-old daughter a child?
It's their child.
Exactly. Thank you. So when it says here you reach puberty and a child, it's not talking about children like babies. No, it's talking about a child as somebody who's young and they reach puberty. Like they could be even 18 years old, 20 years old. That's why it says puberty. That's why it says puberty there.
Here's why I'm going to try and make the distinction.
You're right.
I understand how you're interpreting the text, and I know you have to interpret it.
Yeah.
For someone that's trying to objectively assess what's taking place here, it seems more reasonable that it is talking about children,
Yeah.
as it said there, children that have not yet reached the age of menstruation. In all intents and purposes, that means prepubescent children.
Look, this is adulthood.
That's fine, but that doesn't
Yeah, but
that doesn't determine what's actually said in the tafsir.
I know.
Whoever labeled it that,
Yeah. I know. Yeah, but
you
you see, that's the thing now. Yeah, because before you said pubescent, which is
not
not.
me. Those who have not reached
No,
the years of menstruation.
no. Yes, that
But
doesn't.
that means prepubescent.
No. It doesn't mean that. It means, as I've told you earlier, it means you have reached maturity. You are fully mature, but you don't menstruate. I showed you. Remember when I showed you the primary amenorrhea? Remember when I showed it to you?
I don't think that's what this is talking about.
Yes,
Because
it is. Yeah.
it's again in Ibn Kathir, it literally says the same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. What are the years of menstruation?
Okay, let me show it to you. Let's go. NHS website.
Yeah, let's do that. The years of menstruation.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. This is the NHS. I don't want you to think I'm lying. You
No.
see this?
Yeah, we're
Yeah?
looking. I've looked it up before as
Okay.
well.
Okay, you see? The average, you're going to read it for yourself.
Yeah, the average for age girls to start puberty is 11, but boys is 12. That's the
Okay,
average.
go read more.
But it's perfectly normal for you to begin at any point between the ages of 8 and 13 in girls, 9 and 14 in boys.
Okay.
So we
Now,
can
I
say
didn't-
the
I didn't
years-
say that, yeah.
The years of menstruation are from 8 to 13.
Yes.
So those who have not yet reached the years of menstruation are
Yes.
below 8.
And this is why it comes to what I've told you earlier, which is primary amenorrhea. I think with you, you're conflating puberty with menstruation. Because as you agreed earlier, somebody 30 years old, menstruation means women who don't bleed, who don't have
They have
periods.
an ovular cycle. Their body's releasing eggs. That's what menstruation is all about.
No,
That's
no,
what
no.
puberty is all about.
Here, menstruation is talking about bleeding, blood-wise.
Where does it say that?
What do you think menstruation means?
Menses is the cycle of the woman in terms of producing eggs and bleeding to refresh
Okay.
the
That's talking about bleeding in that sense. It's talking about bleeding because if you look at it in there, as I've shown you, you have to reach puberty in Surah 4, verse 6, and I also showed you in the Hadith where if you have to marry someone, they have to reach puberty. So how do we know that's talking about primary amenorrhea? Is we know it by knowing you have to marry girls and boys when they reach puberty. You understand what I'm saying?
years of menstruation. See, this is where words matter. Because you keep saying puberty, but the Quran doesn't have the word puberty. It says the years of menstruation. And I think if you asked 100 people here that don't know what we're talking about, what's another way of saying years of menstruation? They will say the years of puberty. It's puberty.
No.
So if they have not yet reached the years of menstruation, they haven't not reached puberty, then they're younger than puberty.
No. Okay.
And those who do not have menses could be any age. But why would you then have to say it's the young?
Okay.
With Ibn Kathir, why would he say it's the young if it could be any age? You wouldn't need to designate young.
Okay, that's because there are young people who are, do you agree somebody who's young, 18, does not menstruate?
Also,
Do you agree with that?
just one important point. You wouldn't know that you have an issue, i.e. primary amenorrhea, until you're actually past the years of menstruation. Because some people start late, but they wouldn't know they actually have an actual issue until they're at least past the years of maybe 14 and they still haven't menstruated.
Yeah, but if it
So
says
but the primary amenorrhea cases would only actually apply to 14 and above anyway.
okay, is
Because you
14
wouldn't know.
is 14 still young?
Yes.
Okay, so
But no, but you're missing my point. The years of menstruation.
yeah.
The years of menstruation is,
Yeah.
as you showed me, if you go by the NHS one, it's from 18 to 14 where it can start. Yeah. If primary amenorrhea is your talking point, that doesn't even come into effect until they're past 14.
Okay, but
because puberty could start late for them.
okay.
So then why would Ibn Kathir mention the young?
Yeah, but young
Who have not
the
yet
age
reached the years
hang
of
on.
menstruation.
The age
Wait,
isn't
you
mentioned.
wouldn't know you have a problem till
Yeah.
you've passed the years of menstruation and you have no menses.
Yeah, but the age there is not mentioned though. How do you know it's talking about that age?
I just gave you the exact logic of how this works.
No,
So-
but the age is not mentioned. How do you know
I
it's
know,
talking
we have
about
to deduce-
below 8? How do you know it's talking about
Because
below
you
14?
did NHS. You showed me NHS as a
I know, but I'm showing to you puberty.
which I would agree with.
The
I would
NHS
agree
one,
with that
yeah.
bandwidth of years.
Yeah.
So just for the camera, just for one more time, you wouldn't know you have primary amenorrhea until you're past the years of menstruation anyway.
Okay.
Because you could get your menses late. So you have to allow for that time to occur
Yeah, but the reason-
before you realize you're not getting any.
Yeah, but the
So then
reason
why would then the Quran say, or not say, and the Tafsir say, those who have not reached the years of menstruation? Because primary amenorrhea is not a question until after the years of menstruation and you still don't have a period.
hang on.
My point makes perfect sense.
No, wait.
You don't have a girl at 8 and say, oh my god, she's not menstruating and think there's a problem. You wait until the years of menstruation have passed, and if she still doesn't have one, then you know there's a problem.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
So
so
I agree with Ibn Kathir.
What's that? Like,
that it is talking about prepubescent girls
no.
because they are too young
But why?
to have
Okay.
reached the years
Okay.
of
Okay.
menstruation.
Okay. Why do you not accept the one where he said categorically they have to reach puberty, like 2 or 4 verse 6?
Show me again.
Yeah.
Ibn Kathir said it, yeah?
Yes. Yes. There.
Show me again.
But then you also believe God came down as a man and it's not God. Do you believe that?
There. This one.
No, I'm just double checking the context. Giving back the property of orphans when they reach adulthood.
Yeah.
Do you believe that God is a man? God came down as a man. Yeah, you heard that? Yeah.
But what's this got to do with marriage?
Sorry?
What's this got to do with marriage?
No. We're talking about puberty. You said puberty.
Yeah, but what's this got to do with marrying young? So we have orphans.
Marriage is there, bro. Marriage is there. Look. Sorry. Marriage is there. Look.
Just the competition of orphans until they reach the marriage.
Yeah.
So you've already taken their wealth, because it says when they reach.
Yeah, you return it. Yeah.
Why?
Because if you're orphan, you're young. Somebody has to look after your parents' properties. Yeah. Sorry.
So that says marriageable age.
Yes. And the tafsir says puberty.
Yeah, let's go back in.
Yes. See, I like talking to people who are sincere.
Yeah, I'm sincere.
You know, yeah. Look.
And he accepted it. He accepted it. So when it
Hey, but I still don't see how this negates what
But
I'm
does
saying.
it say puberty though?
But I think age of puberty is when they start having wet dreams. So according to
Yeah, but if it says wet dream, it doesn't mean you have to marry them straight away all the time. It all depends if the person is physically, mentally, and emotionally and matured ready. Now,
let me see one more time.
yeah, it doesn't mean you have to.
Let's just talk about returning property.
Yes.
But again, this is where we have to figure out what we're doing with this word puberty. Because for me, puberty is the years of menstruation.
Okay. Now,
So it's
are you?
That's where we kind of diverge.
Okay. Now, they have said puberty in the tafsir. You accept?
Yeah.
Okay. But the other tafsir, it didn't say prepubescent. It says menstruation, which means
Have not reached the years of menstruation.
yes. And I've explained it to you. That means primary amenorrhea and certain things.
That's where we disagree. And I can't.
Yeah, but the age there is not given.
I know, but that's exactly where we disagree.
Yeah.
You're saying it refers to primary amenorrhea.
Yeah.
I'm saying it doesn't necessarily do that.
The age. Okay. Now.
Why would young need to be mentioned? If anything, it should be
But
saying
young-
those of age
Yeah,
who
but-
have not yet menstruated.
Yeah, but young can also mean 16, 18. Do you agree?
No, not necessarily, because
Are you? How old are you, bro?
what it was doing
Yeah.
in Tafsir as well is it was doing those who are past menstruation and those who have not reached
Yes.
the years of menstruation.
Past menstruation is talking about.
Those are opposite. It was trying to point to opposites.
That's talking about menopause women. Menopause.
Yes, past the years of menstruation.
Yes, menopause.
And before the years of menstruation.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
you're trying to say that it means it could be an 18-year-old or 20-year-old.
What do you think puberty means?
When your body's hormones have kicked in to start preparing you to reproduce.
Exactly. So if it says their puberty, that agrees with what you just said.
Yes. No, and the Tafsir says before they have reached the years of menstruation.
Yes, I've already explained.
Is 3 months.
I've already explained that to you. Even though the age is not given, yeah, this could talk about 14, 15, 16, 20-year-old girls.
My major point on the primary amenorrhea was that you wouldn't know you have an issue until after the years of menstruation. But the tafsir says before the years of menstruation.
No, here it says here until they reach puberty, the age of puberty.
Yeah, but what I'm looking at on the other tafsir, puberty
Well,
is a
five
general
minutes.
word.
I think my cameraman wants to go.
That's fine.
So yeah,
Well, we can still talk.
yeah.
But do you see where I'm coming from?
Yes, I see
I can see how you can build your stance.
Yeah, yeah.
But can you see how I can build mine?
I get where you're
Although
coming
you think
from.
mine is wrong, which
No,
is
no.
fair.
With you, if the age was mentioned, I would have accepted. Like, let's say
So
below.
8 years old. If it said
If it said 8 years old, I would have accepted
if
what you said.
said
Yeah.
if they're younger than 8 years old.
Yes, like the
then
way you
they're still
defined.
3 months.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
The
fair.
way you defined it. Yeah.
But this is where we diverge on the words. But I think the really big point that I want you to really get to, that I never thought about before today, is that you wouldn't know you have an issue with menstruation until you're actually past the years of
Yes,
menstruation.
yes, I know that.
Where
Yeah.
it should have
Yeah,
started.
and this is why it's important to tell you the age is not mentioned.
I know it's not.
So
But
how do you
we
know
can
it's talking about?
deduce-
How do you know it's talking
No,
about
but
below
my
that age?
deduction is that if the years of menstruation is 8 to 14 for women, once you get past 14, then you know you have an issue. But if primary amenorrhea is what it's actually trying to talk about, then it should have said it in a different way, because that doesn't add up.
Okay, it's for. It's no one the Shia Muslims.
You guys don't
So,
like Shia.
well, I don't hate them. No, I'm just telling you they're
I understand,
Shia. No. So do you agree 14 is young?
14 is
14 years old. Do you agree is young?
no.
Why not?
You know what? What will help us if I can actually bloody find my hadith?
Is that the
When-
Prophet's
When
marriage?
the Prophet said, "Why don't you marry a young girl
Yeah, but young doesn't mean
so
prepubescent.
that you can play with her?"
Yeah, but
And she with you.
you know why? You know why he said that?
No, I don't.
Play means, yeah, in terms of sport, running. I'll show it to you. Shall I show you that? Shall I show you the
Well, let me
hadith
try
when
and
they were
find it.
playing?
Yeah, let me try and find
I
it.
know the hadith already.
I don't know why I can't find these things. I have it on my notes. Oh, maybe I put it in the note, actually.
Man, the internet is bad here, man. Look, this is Sahih. This is when the Prophet said to play with her, it's talking about in terms of sport. Look,
So, Aisha was raising it.
yeah. No, it's there, Aisha. Yeah,
Yeah, but we have an issue with Aisha.
we'll
6 and
come.
9.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
So again, even with Aisha, which we haven't even spoken about,
We'll come to
would
that.
corroborate to what I'm saying.
We'll come to that. But do you agree when the Prophet said to play with the young, it's talking about this?
That's not definitive. That's not definitive. Come on.
Bro, come
I
on.
understand where you're going, but that's not definitive.
Okay, bro, can we wrap it up? If you want us to have more conversation, take my contact, or shall I take your contact details?
Yeah, hold on, let me just.
Because we need to speak to some other people as well.
Yeah, of course.
But if you want more conversation, have you got contact details?
Yeah, sure.
What's your contact details? Wait.
Do Instagram, my number, I don't mind.
Oh, you got no? Oh, yeah, just put your number there. I'll call you with my other number. I don't use. This is my main one. So. How you doing, Soko? Almost. 1 second. How you doing? Yeah, it's a good conversation. Yeah. Give us 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Oh, Baba!
Yeah, Ashley. So I'll give you a missed call. Yeah, later.
Yeah,
I'll text you on WhatsApp. Yeah.
What was your name again?
Just put Bob there. Bob.
Oh no, yeah. When you call me, I'll remember.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll text you as well and let you know.
I'll
Yeah.
get my Quran next time.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up.
Bible.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Islam doesn't teach marrying prepubescent girls, as I've shown in the hadith and the tafsir. Yeah. We're against it. Anyone that does it, I condemn it. Okay? I'm not for it. I'm against it. That's why I'm doing my best to show you these things.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm genuine. I don't believe in marrying prepubescent girls. I think that's disgusting. Okay? I've shown you the hadith, even though you think that's talking about a certain situation, but still it can be related to all girls. Okay? So this is where I stand. And if you want, we can talk about the Prophet's marriage to Aisha late next time. We can. Do you do online discussions?
Really? I prefer
You don't. Yeah, but I don't come here often because I live far away.
Where do you live?
I don't want to say.
Outside of London?
I don't want to say on camera. Yeah, on camera.
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot
I
about
live
that.
like 2.5 hours away.
Okay, no problem.
So this is why I don't come
Yeah,
often.
we can make time.
Yeah.
But for me,
I mean, we can do StreamYard. You don't have to show your face.
no, I don't care.
You don't mind? Okay, that's fine. Because I do
I'm
online.
not saying anything disrespectful. I'm just
No,
looking at
I
the
know,
text.
but some people don't like their faces. Like me, I don't like. I do this just for dawah.
Yeah,
I don't do it for my face to be seen. I don't
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Understood.
So we can do it and speak about so many doubts you have about Islam. I did my best today
Yeah.
to show you.
I liked what
Okay,
you did,
yeah.
but I'm not convinced.
Inshallah,
what you did, but I'm not
inshallah,
convinced.
inshallah, one day. Ashley, give me a hug.
Actually, bro. Yeah, no, it's a
so,
good one.
so I will.
Because you showed me a few tafsirs no one showed me before.
Yes.
So that's why I come here. My friend said, "Oh, why are you coming here to try and